That is the toughest question that we grow up with, right,
It
Grace?
is. It is for sure.
Where is home? And I think I've always grabbed hold of that same answer that others use, which is, home is where I am at the time, or where the family is now, or wherever the case may be. And I've unfortunately, if maybe one of the questions that you're going to ask, what do I feel like I lost out on when I was a military child? And that is the answer I'd give you, Grace. I'd say I unfortunately never got to experience having roots anywhere. And fortunately or unfortunately, I've continued that path because I'm now at 29 years. And so 29 years of following Dad, and I hit 29 years in February of this year. And I've never been able to call a place home for any longer than 3 years. That was my own longest assignment, but several locations for just 6 months. So it's been a roller coaster. So what do I call home? I love to say that, when I came into the Army, I called Florida my resident state. And so when people say, what are you? I'll say, hey, I'm a Floridian. But then Grace, if you say, how long did you live in Florida? I might tell you not long at all. Just a couple months, right? So it's never been a true home in any regards. And then, some people could say, well, call high school home. Well, that would be easy if I didn't go to 4 different high schools in 4 different years. So, is it where you graduated from that you call home? And I think you and I share a lot in common with many other military children where, it's the toughest question in the world. Where's home? And I don't have an accent to help me. So it was a lot easier than you'd think. Part of it is because we were such good friends and such close friends before we adopted. So we knew her. She was in a very sad situation where her father had left her at a very early age, and her mother was terminally ill with cancer. And one of her mother, who was a great friend of ours, one of her wishes before she passed was to consider taking on her daughter so that she knew that her daughter would have a good life.
Wow.
And I think it may have been easier for us to accept her as a new addition to the family because she was an only child. We had, run the muck with other kids, neighbors, and called everybody family. And so it was very easy for us to bring her on board. But I would be kidding myself if I didn't say that she didn't look a little timid and scared, and it just took time to know that we loved and cared for her. But it was a great experience. We laugh about it now. I mean, now she had run a successful business, and it's just been great. And if you asked her some of the questions you might be asking me today, she might be able to relate the fewest or a little bit to the military child life, because she had, slowly become an American citizen. And by the time she was getting her feet wet, my father was retiring. And so she didn't get to experience all those moves. It definitely did. That's a fantastic question from you, Grace. It was super quick or super easy for me to realize the camaraderie, the friendships that were lasting a lifetime for my parents. And that was part of why I joined and why the Army or why the military life. It was the feeling of a bond. And a feeling of obviously becoming something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
And when I saw the level or scale of influence, the walks of life, I mean, again, I love being able to have this conversation with you because I think you and I can both relate to, especially in today's troubling times, right? Where we start seeing division across country and the like. I can fortunately say that I rarely experienced it, if I experienced it at all, right? I never, it was a wonderful thing to say that when you heard about other parts of the world struggling with divisiveness, whether it's, race, religion, gender, whatever the case may be, the beautiful thing about being in the military is I never saw color. I never thought about religion. It was just a wonderful place to be in. and the friendships that you had, the family that you were a part of, was just a wonderful thing. So I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So I was active in at least one sport every move, sometimes two or three sports. So the challenge with that, of course, was getting through the barrier of moving from junior varsity as a freshman or sophomore and moving into varsity because you haven't been proven in that
Mm-hmm.
new school. You were also disadvantaged because when do most people move? They move in spring, summer, or early fall, and they miss the repetitions you get from going to spring camp or spring training and having that bond. So, part of it was, again, exciting because you had to prove yourself very fast when you got on the ground that, hey, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to benefit the team, which was kind of nice. But at the same time, you kind of missed that click. So you're a little behind, but exciting to try to get a fast start. And so, yes, that was, maintaining that active lifestyle. I certainly didn't always want to do that, Grace. I'll be honest. It was my mom and dad that kicked me in the rear end. Said, okay, you move to a new location, you are going to get into a sport and you're going to like it and you're going to do well at it. Right. And so they were forcing me out the door, which of course forced making new friendships.
Yeah. And that's very important, with the many moves too. Did you find a sport that you drew more to?
So I think I began to favor, I'm not a big guy. When my freshman, sophomore year were the last years that I played football. And then I found a love for soccer and track. And so excelled in both of those when I was a junior and senior. So I wanted to experience both. It was really for me just a matter of deciding when. So like you, I started with a local college and I thought, okay, first things first, let me keep a pulse on education and keep that going. So I went to a local college, and I would say that I was probably through my second quarter of my freshman year where I started having the serious thoughts of, okay, what is it that I want to do and experience? And so I signed up to come in as an enlisted soldier first. And so I started my career with that enlistment, which was during college. I later came back to college, but I'll get to that. I joined enlisted, and then I had the ability to apply for what they called this green to gold program. And your dad might be familiar with it, but it's a commissioning program to move from enlisted to an officer. Okay. I applied for that program, and the Army took me on and offered to pay for the rest of my college. And in turn, I would have a commission and a service obligation of 4 years. Wow. And so I went back to school, in this case, went to Auburn University, finished my bachelor's at Auburn, and was immediately commissioned as a lieutenant in the Medical Service Corps and started my own career.